Yo guys, what is up? Welcome to TSO Crypto, your home for Crypto TA. I am your host Martin, and today we're going to be looking at Bitcoin inverse and shoulders. Now, if you're catching this from live, welcome. If you're catching the replay and having suggestions, you know what to do. Hit the like, hit the bell, hit the sub, join us in the Discord, and yeah, let's get rolling, see what's happening. Andrew, what's up? Tristan, glad to hear your portfolio's on the green. And Karthiko, good evening, my friend. Now, let's get rolling. Do more people watch on mobile or computer? That's a good question. I haven't seen the statistics lately, but we can figure that out together towards the end of the stream. All right, so what's going on here with crypto? Market cap, holding support, right? We talked about this zone here, holding the 2.25 trillion. It is holding, which is good. But again, we're still rejecting this upper here zone, which is going to be the 2.5 trillion. Need to get above that again to keep on climbing to the top. So we are getting our pullback. We had the hidden divergence, and that is what's getting us to hold, right? So we played with this idea. We talked about how critical it was that we're going to hold this level and how critical it was that we needed to hold here. Otherwise, it was a drop all the way down here, or the 2 trillion, and we held. So I'm happy with that. That's something we discussed 2 days ago. Let's go check out Bitcoin and see what's going on there. And then we're going to play with some ideas with the fib. So Bitcoin, similar story, right? We had the target here at 60,423. And I remember, guys, I told you we needed to reclaim it on this day, right? The green candle. I said, if we don't reclaim this here zone, or at least close above it, we are looking for a potential drop to the 54,000. When we left the stream, we were on the red. We were trailing down here. And I said, that's not going to be good if the close is here. If that close would have been here on the range, 62,423 and down, man, could we have been in for a drop to the 54,230 zone? But we didn't. We managed to reclaim it, so that's good. Again, still below the all-time high. Playing around here with this here zone, right? What is this? The 6,994 area. And I'm going to go to the fibs just because I want to talk about something that happened here. It also correlates with something that we discussed a while back, a couple days ago, maybe even last week, or beginning of this week. I can't remember exactly when, but I know we talked about this. So I'm just waiting for the charts to load, and we're going to be looking at the fibs, right? The fibs are looking beautiful. Remember, we went from low to high to get a retrace. And if we look at this, right, we came down to the 50% retrace, and we talked about, you know, retracing the 50% being Dow's theory. A lot of retraces happen around the 50%, and then we started to climb back up. But guess what? On that climb, we happened to come all the way to that 336. We rejected it and came back down and closed at 382, and we're managing to hold it there. And now I'm trying to move back up again. So if I zoom in here and we just look at this one, this is precisely what we're getting, right? That move. Look at it. Boom. Blam. Right? Bounce. Rejection here to support. And now try to hold the zone, trying to climb again. How we're going to climb? I think that's going to play off the 4 hour. There's a potential inverse head and shoulders building there, and we're going to discuss it in a second. Now, we also have larger fibs, right? Those ones come from down here, low to high, right? So we could get a larger retrace even. And if you look at this, beautiful. We came down very, very close to that 382, a couple hundreds away, and then we just started bounce, but we are now above, right, these 236. And if you look at the closing, the body closing for that candle, right, the wick closed at a 382. But the bodies are closing almost spot on at that 236 and using it as support for the bounce, right? This green candle here is definitely using that as a support for the bounce, right? So beautiful the way this is playing out. Again, this is really helping us hold on to these levels and turning the tides back onto the bullish side. So that's something that we discussed that we wanted to do. Otherwise, you know, it was hello bearishness again and look for a drop to the 54K. Bulls are trying to control. Why? Because if we remember on the 4 hour chart, there was some bullishness things that we're building, or maybe in the 1 hour even. And we're going to look at how those things are playing out up till today, right? So we had the hidden divergence on the daily, helping us to hold, which is good. But a lot of things that are happening right now, or what we're seeing happening right now, is coming from this time scales. Now, if we look at this, we had the strong bullish divergence on Tuesday. Remember, we were not here on Wednesday, and that was Tuesday at like the 10 p.m. candle that we were drawing this, and again, we were in the red. That's why that it's a little bit lower, right? The touching point for the line is a little bit lower than when we should have been. But, you know, we anchored to here now that we know that's the point. We have the bullish divergence strong, MACD, RSI, and get that nice rally coming in. Now, what I'm looking at here, and I'm going to switch back to this chart that is a little bit opening, right? What I'm thinking about here, right, as far as this going on here. Sorry, Andrew, I cannot see the chat properly for some reason. I know it says something interesting tweet you posted on Discord. Okay, I'll check it out in a little bit, I guess, or send me the link on the Discord. I can't see the chat real well. For some reason here, I can see a little heart, and it kind of like breaks into this thing, so it doesn't let me look at the chat properly. So with that in mind, let's keep rolling. Okay, so this Bitcoin chart's a little bit cleaner for me to be able to draw this. Remember, we look at this, beautiful. We even talked about this potential break, right? We hadn't revisited this idea in a while, right? Since we broke, and we said Bitcoin's trending on an upsloping channel. Remember, that was last week that we talked about this, and we said if we drop upsloping channels, remember, tend to break to the downside. And I'm just glad that we revisited this chart. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen it. But we broke. When did we break? We break here. Look at that, right? We're breaking down, and we're almost going for that measure move. Look at that. Boom. Close here, right? So, boom. Very, very close to hitting that measure move on that movement down, right? So, again, that's also coming into play. And we talked about this. We just hadn't revisited the chart. So, again, I'm glad that we talked about all this stuff. All these ideas were discussed, and if you guys were here on the streams, you guys knew about this. Sometimes I forget to go back to certain charts, particularly if they're not interesting at that point in time. And Bitcoin was just going down, and we're waiting to see whether or not we're going to bounce. But again, that coming into play, so that movement's done. Now we're looking for a retrace, right? So what's happening here? Look at this. This is the idea that I'm proposing that we could be developing. Again, it's not yet there, right? It's not yet there. But this is the idea that we could be in for, right? And I think this idea, if it comes into fruition, is going to be beautiful. Because this idea gets us to higher levels. On the shorter move, it would be a really, really good move, right? So that's what we're looking at. That's the neckline. What TA is the bow line? Oh, what bow line? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Bow line. All right, so we're going to measure this real quick. From the lowest point, right, that would be here, to the highest point there, right, or somewhere around there. And if we do break this to the upside, which we're aiming for, right, that would get Bitcoin to go up here to the 74,000s, right? Very, very close to the highs that we made here, right? The curvy line, oh, it's just here off the side. It's where the brush tool is. You're going to see the curve down here. Somewhere here. I can't see it. It's farther down. It's just you can't see it on my screen, but it's down here. It's a blue line that you can barely see there where it's a streamer. It's under arc and is the curve. All right, and that makes that awesome curve. All right, so what we're proposing is this inverse head and shoulders. That could potentially break to the upside. For that to happen again, right now what needs to happen is Bitcoin needs to start coming up here to the zone, back test this neckline, right? And then try to break it. If we break it, we could be in for that move. And that's going to be nice. That gets us back to the all-time high again. And that puts us on a position where the bullishness is coming back into the market and everyone's going to be really digging in to get back into Bitcoin, okay? So again, measure move of the upsloping channel hit. Fibs working and doing their job. Also holding the supports that we stated that we needed to hold. And inverse head and shoulder potential building. So, bullishness. So I'm going to go back to this chart, the one we usually look at, and I'm going to draw the inverse head and shoulders. Just this chart's a little bit more cluttered. That's why I didn't want to explain that here. I wanted to explain it on a cleaner chart so you guys could see it a little bit better. And then just come back here, and then we're just going to draw it again. But we already know what we're talking about, right? So you guys could see it clearer on the other chart. And here, I'm just going to go ahead and do it really quick. And again, this is just for, I'm going quick over it because we already explained it. So this is the idea that I'm proposing that Bitcoin could be building, right? And I think that's what could be in play. So break that neckline is going to be key. Okay, that neckline comes like that. It gets us above the previous high. And the previous all-time high. And it puts us on a range where we could be aiming for the new all-time high. Okay, that's what I'm thinking about here. So again, we're going to use this one here like that. And we're going to go for, we were going to say that we're probably going to break here. So on this chart, if we break here, again, we're hitting that all-time high, right? Spot on. The other chart, different charts, different prices for closing. This chart basically tells us that we could be hitting this here level. And that puts us at the all-time high. So that's good. That's not a bad move for Bitcoin. I would be extremely happy if Bitcoin goes for that move. However, also be careful because we could hit a potential area here that's going to be big psychological, right? This here zone, We have the 66,900 and so we have the 69,000 zone, and then we have the 70,000. So there's two psychological resistance up ahead that we must face and break for us to get to the all-time highs. So again, here you can see here that we hit that 70,000 probably, very close to it, before we reject it and then climb above it. So I'm happy with what Bitcoin's doing again. I like this idea. I hope it develops it. Right now, I'm just pointing it out because it's going to be crucial over the next 4 hours for you guys to watch that if that's what you want to trade, because that could give you an idea as to where the market could go, right? I'm not going to be here in the next couple 4 hours until tomorrow night. So next 4 hour candle is crucial. It needs to get to this level, needs to break it, and then need to break this here area of resistance, and then we're up for that move. Okay? Good. With all that said, why were we moving down, right? Why were we moving down here? Well, this move here, as you can tell, is coming from a higher point to a lower higher point here. And that just happens to correlate with this move here. And that gets us to where we're doing hidden bearish, right? Hidden bearish divergence is something that gives us action to the downside. So we're starting to trend down from that. We don't have any bullishness developing here. We're running off the strong bullish. Remember, strong bullish usually overtakes hidden bearish, particularly in bull markets. We see bearish indicators fail to play out. So all this bearish divergence helped us to achieve was this movement down that is going to build that next shoulder that we're looking for, okay? 1 hour chart might have something different, so we're going to go and check it out and see what we can do once we're there. All right. So 1 hour chart, same stuff. Head and shoulders building about the same, right? It looks very, very close. Again, the shoulders are very equally matched. There's almost no difference. Look at that. It closed right slightly below the line. It's slightly above that white line here at 64,900. So again, we are good. It's a good zone. We're getting above also the 64,900 area, which again, we stated that we needed to hold. If you remember when we were talking about the movement down before we dropped into this here zone, the 61,000s, we said that we wanted to hold this area. And this is the area that we didn't want to break. It's an area that we're holding now. And that's good. That's now acting as support. It didn't hold here. It just held for a candle before we broke it, then became resistance. Now it's beginning to come support again. So that's good. That's why I wanted it to happen back here, if you remember, when we were talking about it potentially developing some bullish divergence on this move, which we didn't get. Now we're getting it. We got it here. Okay, sorry. Do you want to move that line? We got it here. All right, so what's happening on the larger move? We're coming up higher, more positive momentum, higher on the other side. The movement here, again, coming up higher, more positive and higher. So here, there's really nothing bearish on the 1 hour for this movement down. This is playing off the 4 hour, okay? And why are we starting to go up? Well, on the 1 hour chart, we see this bullishness. All right, this bullish divergence is going to be hidden, and that tells us that we're looking for continuation. So with no overhead resistance, right, we're looking for, sorry about that. With no overhead resistance, we're looking for a potential movement up, because we don't have overhead resistance from the divergence, okay? Not that we don't have overhead resistance. We do have 66,244 and the 66,900. So what I meant is there's nothing bearish overhead that is going to play against us. We're going to start getting it as soon as we try to get above this level. So if you remember with the charts, with the head and shoulders, right, that's the neckline. That's the price we got to beat. By the time we are here, we're not going to be creating anything bearish probably. But as soon as we get to these levels, right, this larger circle I just drew, all right, keep this in mind. Price is going to go here, right, somewhere around there. This is going to start to look like that, right? So we're going to start creating that bearish divergence, right, strong, and that's going to try to make us go back down. That's why you usually have to wait for that throwback after we break the neckline. Remember, it is an important part. It's an important part. We could be setting up for that pump, but if we fail and we get that throwback and we don't bounce when we backtest the neck, that's a failed head and shoulders inverse, and that is bearish. That just gets us to go further down. So how that works is we're going to break the zone, right? We're going to come back down, probably, very likely because of the hidden divergence. We got to backtest this neckline. If we bounce, we're good. If we drop, hell, that's not going to be a good indicator, okay? So remember, that's what we're looking for. That's what's in store for us, I think, over the next couple of hours for Bitcoin. All right. And if no one else is, calling out this idea right now, just remember that we're calling it out here. So keep that in mind. That you're hearing it probably here first. And that's what I think Bitcoin could do. So I already explained where it could go up, where it could go down, measured it, talk about supports, talk about resistances. All right, so let's move on and check out Ethereum, okay? Bitcoin looking really, really good. I'm feeling, sorry, that's not it. That we're feeling bullish on Bitcoin right now. I'm feeling bullish on Bitcoin. I believe this is the play that we're going to go for. And share it with people. If any one of you guys want to help me out, grow the channel, snip that inverse head and shoulders and share it with people so that people can see that we're calling out moves that can potentially happen. People that might not know what's going on with crypto or don't know how to trade, they can learn stuff here. This is all about learning, and the bigger the community gets, the more people are learning, the better it's going to be for everyone. So a lot of people are probably going to have different questions that maybe you haven't thought about or that I haven't explained, and that's going to make it really, really amazing. Carthago saying, only thing that can rain on our parade now is the DXY keeps ramping up daily. Yeah, you're right. The DXY could definitely rain on our parade. Look at Ethereum. Where's Ethereum at? It is getting above areas that we wanted to. Remember, I told you guys we wanted to hold Ethereum here. We didn't want to drop because it was dropped. We're holding it, right? Just like Bitcoin. Boom, same move. Bounce. Boom, resistance. Where we wanted to hold last time, the 35,000, the 3,500 and $39 mark. Again, there's really nothing else happening on the daily, just kind of bland for now. But if we move off to the 4-hour, I would not be surprised if we're doing something similar. So if you can tell, similar to Bitcoin, right? Potential inverse head and shoulders. That's a good move. I kind of like it. It's not as pronounced as Bitcoin, where we had more like, a neckline that was building that was deeper. Like here's a little bit more dull, right? So the move here, again, not as pronounced, so it's not as deep, right? With usually, I mean, it's gonna work for an inverse head and shoulders, but usually, you want to get something like, well, not like that, but you just want to get this deeper area here. Here, just kind of like not really deep. It's not gonna matter. It still works. It usually looks best for example purposes when that is happening, like Bitcoin had it. So. Similar thing to Bitcoin. We're looking at the exact same thing to happen. We're looking for that movement here. Again, I forgot to anchor in the Bitcoin chart 1 hour for the 1 hour things we drew. So I'm going to have to go back to it and like reclaim all that stuff. Otherwise, it's going to be messy. And again, we're holding here at this level beautifully. And again, that's the largest point. And that is a measure move that we could be going for. Ethereum's almost at that point where it's hitting that neckline, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's not as deep as Bitcoin. Bitcoin still has to climb a little bit more to hit that zone. Here, we're almost hitting it. And again, that puts us at all-time highs, right? Very, very close. Not all-time highs, sorry. Gets us very close to the previous high that we're getting here on Ethereum, okay? Ethereum neutral at 44.67. Sorry, 53.48 on the RSI. Let's go to, sorry, before we go anywhere, similar things to Bitcoin, right? Creating that divergence, hidden bearish on the move. That's what we get the small dip, and that's what's causing us to have, that new shoulder forming, right? So again, it's just a mini Bitcoin clone. That's how we can look at Ethereum right now. Unlike Bitcoin, I think Ethereum did develop something that is bearish here. Let's see. It's going slightly higher, man. It barely made it. Yeah, it barely made it. So I was worried that we're going to have some hidden divergence here. We don't. So just like with Bitcoin, what Ethereum is developing, it is bullish and is hidden bullish, and that move goes here, right? This one we were looking at this last. So yeah, we ended up dropping it there. That movement still tracks it there, and this all was pretty golden, right? That's stuff that we talked last stream. Now, what we're looking at right now is this move, right? This move is smooth. I like it. It could bring some nice action to the upside. I think it has potential. It's hidden bullish. That's what's going to get us to ramp up right now, and that is what we need. Now, the neckline for Ethereum, right, would be from here to here, right? And as you can tell, we're very, very close to hitting it, right? Very close to hitting it. We're like a couple hundred, maybe. Well, apparently not even a couple hundred, like $35 away from it. Okay, so that's very short. That's very doable. If Bitcoin's not doing it, by the time Ethereum reaches that zone, Ethereum could be an indicator as to how this move could go. Okay, so I will be watching Ethereum as well. And if Ethereum rejects here and Bitcoin starts to fall, it could be that it's just going to follow what Ethereum is going to do, okay? But if Bitcoin rallies, that means that Ethereum is very likely going to try to break this zone, right? And then Ethereum might try to retrace and run up, right? Because it has immediate resistance ahead, right? Yeah, Ethereum in hot water. Interesting. Are they going to do that? Are they going to turn it into, like, a copy of Cardano? I'm not sure, man. That'll be weird. One of the second, largest crypto asset by, like, market cap after Bitcoin, following a smaller project. That's going to be interesting, right? All right, that's it for Ethereum. I think I have a file open here. I do have a file coin open. We're going to check it out, deal. All right, let's check it, man. We haven't seen this in a while. Yeah. All right, let's check it, man. Let's see what we can do here for this chart. Again, it almost looks fresh. I'm not sure we even had anything on this chart in a while. So, file. Let's see what's it doing. Let's fib it first, get an idea where we're at, get some bearings. Let's take that low point. Let's go to the high point here and see how we're bouncing. Again, beautiful. 50% retrace, just like Bitcoin, getting above 382, and right now using it as support. That's great. That's a good move. I'll take that any day. Gonna go for that 236 very likely on a bounce. And then if we get above there, we're looking for the recovery of this high and then go from there. But is Filecoin at all-time highs? No, it's not. It's really, really far away from, all-time highs, at least on this chart. All-time highs for Filecoin, man, we're way up here at around $238. So we are at a fraction of where we are supposed to be. That's never good. Far, far away from, good goals, I would say. All right, let's look at this here. Okay, so all right, let's see. We're bouncing. We're doing all the great, awesome stuff. What's happening here? We're having divergence that was bearish, just like with Bitcoin, right? That move there. I don't care right now if it's going over data. That spike there. I'm not gonna break it into parts, mainly because snap, I hit the wrong combination. There we go. Because it goes from here to here and then from here to here. So it's the same thing. It goes from here to here and then from here to here. And then it just goes from here to here, right? Boom, and then there. That's it. Bearish divergence, strong action to downside, getting the dip. Now what's happening? It's hitting bullish, just like with Bitcoin, right? So that goes there, and then that goes there. Even if we take the point back here, it's still the same thing. It's still less negative momentum to more negative momentum, right? RSI doesn't have it, just MACD. And again, that thing is about, like I'm saying, it's bullish, it's hidden, and it's looking like Bitcoin. It's getting a really, really nice bounce. Yesterday, it managed to pump 13%. Hey, I'll take that any day. I like a 13% rally. Why not? Let's see here, man. This is not creating the inverse head and shoulders, right? Like, Bitcoin had one of the shoulders here, then the head, and then, it's building the shoulder. This is not creating that shoulder. All right, so what's in store for us here on this move, man? Bullish divergence, strong check, right? Potential for action to the upside. Anchor that there, that goes there, and here we go. And from there, whatever it is, it still works the same. There it is, right? So, bullish divergence, action to the upside, getting that small rally. Now here we're getting the move. Starting to come down here. Why? Because there's hidden bearish, just like Ethereum and Bitcoin, where they were creating that, shoulder portion. Here we have that same bearishness. Again, potential for a movement down, right? So we're looking for that potential movement down again. Market conditions are turning bullish, so good chance that this might not play out and continue on a rally to the upside. Strong bullish usually wins over hidden bearish. Besides that, is there anything else that we're missing out here? We're just gonna fib it. We already fibbed it on the larger scale. I don't think fibbing it here is gonna do us any good. The only thing we're gonna fib it for is for the bounce back up. We're gonna see where we're at and where we could go. So high to low. That high there and the low here, right? So I'm using this high and that low, and I just want to see where we're at. And we're getting a bounce at a 236, not even reaching the 382. So we still have that climb to go. and then 50%, then the 618, and then the 786, and the 100%. So that's targets to the upside, right? So $9.39, $9.83, $10.26, $10.88, and then $11.66. Let's go to the 1 hour. 1 hour chart, similar stuff, right? Bullish divergence back here. Boom. Right, gonna anchor this one here on the 1. Make it all nice and pretty. Right, so we can all see it and be like, ah, wow, yeah, it was there. I remember when he drew that. Yeah, here we go, man. All right, and now we're going up higher still, right? So this is gonna go over this point here. You usually don't like it when that happens, but you know that move goes like that, right? Boom. Hidden bullish. Action to the upside. It's gonna start again here. The neckline or the shoulders are too wide apart, I think. Or they could work. Doesn't look as good. Didn't look as good in the 4 hour here. It might be doable for us to draw something like this. Again, boom, boom, and boom. Right. That's what we're looking for, right? If that's what we're gonna build again, then we would be proposing the same idea. That's gonna be the neckline, and we're looking for a break of that neckline, and we're gonna go from the lowest point to the largest area there, and then we're gonna go where it breaks, and it will reach like $10.79. That would be a good target for this on a measure move of that head and shoulders inverse, depending on when we break. And I think that's a fair assessment for Filecoin. Okay, I think that's a very, very good move that it could have. Again, this inverse head and shoulders is developing on a couple more assets, and I'm liking it. I like the way it looks. I like the way it looks. I like the conditions the market it's in as far as this movement. So I think it has a lot of potential, right? That we're seeing it across a couple assets. Now I'm just gonna go back to Bitcoin real quick. Not that one, that chart. All right, so this chart seems to be lagging, right? This is the Gemini. Seems to be at $65,941. Other exchanges have Bitcoin at 66,000. So yeah, a couple dollars off. Again, not weird to see things like that happening on charts. It's just normal, but you know, it would be much cooler if everything was together. So Bitcoin, I anchored everything. Good. I didn't forget to anchor. All right, I'm gonna do ADA real quick. See if ADA has some of this magic going on, and then we'll see what else we could do, or what we're gonna do afterwards. All right, there we go. ADA, retracing. Oh, look at that. Boom, 618. Bouncing back up. Where to? 50% retrace. Failing to get to 382, but holding it. Why did we fail? Because we hit resistance at 64. Look at that. Boom, spot on hit. Great. Man, this is just looking beautiful. I like this. It's just doing everything that we, targets that we talked about. That's amazing. Neutral at 45.26. It's really nothing else going on here on the daily. We had some divergence here. I'm not sure why it is not showing. And I know that because that line is there. It's just the line here is not there. Okay, so we'll just draw it again. Not a problem, shorty. We got it. Let's go to the 4 hour. 4 hour chart, we're looking for the bullish divergence. Remember that? Oh, yeah, we talked about it. Boom, there it is. Bouncing at resistance, right? We're going to get above that target for us to still go higher. But it's looking okay. The only thing that's coming into play here is a hidden bearish, just like the rest of the market. And again, that tells us that the whole crypto market is basically paying attention to Bitcoin for the moves. No one's doing their own thing right now. At least none of the projects that we're looking at. I'm going to revisit Shiv because Shiv had an amazing setup. I told you guys. I just want to see how that's playing out. So hidden bearish, moving down. Right now we're going to go into the 1 hour, see if we have some hidden bullish developing here, which I think we could. I just got to zoom in here real quick and see if we have it. And we do, barely. Great, look at that. Boom, it just goes from here to here. Just ever so slightly more. But that would do it, right? That's the hidden bullish that we're looking for. Boom, that's a move. So we had the strong bullish, try to rally, dropped a little bit more, still held to that bullish divergence strong. Got that nice action to the upside, right? Boom, and bouncing to a resistance. Need to get above that. Jason, what's up, my friend? Thank you very much for stopping by. You missed Bitcoin, man. Good stuff happening on Bitcoin. A lot of stuff that we talked about. Stuff we talked about last week that came into play that I kind of forgot to touch back on it this week. And then stuff that we talked about earlier this week that's coming to fruition. And then a potential setup that I've discussed for inverse head and shoulders in the 4 hour and the 1 hour. So awesome stuff happening there, man. Check it out if you get a chance. I might cover it back before the stream ends just to touch back on details. And yeah, that seems to be it for ADA, man. There's like no, is it doing like higher, like no hidden bearish here. No shoulder, right? Here would have been one shoulder. It would have been the other one. A lot of people might argue that this is an inverse head and shoulders, and I would agree with that assessment for this smaller move. Right, so this would have been a nice move. We weren't here on Wednesday, so we were not here to call it. And I was not looking for this move at all when I did ADA last time. But this is a nice move, and the neckline would have been like this, boom, and we got a nice break. And I think we might have even gone for that measure move. So we'll see here in a second. We might have hit it, we might have not, and we hit it with the wick. So yeah, boom, spot on hit. Look at that, right? Boom, right there. That wick here happens to top almost where this is, right? So make a line there. Look at that. Beautiful. ADA, inverse head and shoulders. Cool. We weren't here to call it. I wasn't here on Wednesday. We were not here when this candle was closing, so we're probably somewhere around here. So there was no development of this here portion. So there was no way we would have called this when we were here last on Tuesday, because this was not here, right? This from this section onwards, I'm just gonna use the measure tool, it's gonna be easier. So from like this section onwards, right, we didn't have any of this happening. So we were here. There was no way we could have foreseen that this was gonna start developing. But ADA has that inverse head and shoulders that's playing out beautifully. All right, now with that said, let's check. I said SHIB, so I'm gonna do SHIB real quick. Almost like the market's following ADA, yeah. Talking about Bitcoin chart and Coinbase, exactly the same pound for pound. If fractional plays out again, we're gonna go down a couple hours to go back to 60K. Well, I hope that's not gonna be the case. Here we managed to drop. That I didn't like that. This setup was looking so cool for SHIB. We just haven't touched back on it. So now this is probably shifting to a downsloping channel, or a downsloping yeah, like flag formation still, but you know, I'm just gonna switch to the channel tool, and I'm gonna use the bottoms here for drawing this, and then I'm gonna use that there, and you can see that this is beautifully playing. So low, high, and a couple of hits there, hitting it again. So this holds okay as a falling channel. We know that does tend to break to the upside again. It kind of sucks. We had a really nice falling formation here that could have led to really nice movements to the upside. Bitcoin kind of screwed us all over and had us drop, so SHIB tanked with it. But SHIB's still looking like a good setup. I'm still holding on to that. So I'm bullish on SHIB. Right? I'm bullish on what SHIB can do if this manages to play out. Let's go back to Bitcoin. All right, so first I'm gonna just send this to the 4 hour because it makes no sense how this looks here on the 4 hour, and 1 hour is fine. I just don't want it on the daily. All right, and for that, I think we're gonna go to a cleaner chart. So we're gonna go to this one. You said check Bitcoin 373 and 318. Okay. Okay, so we were looking at somewhere on here. 17 starts here. 18 is here. Well, if where's my tool here? Rectangle. Okay. So the 17th starts here. Right, and the 18th is here. And I'm just gonna make this larger. You're saying that this is this. Doesn't look that way right now as far as fractal goes. Right, we're not sure when you want that start at. We could even move it to here, like farther here to, you know, catch some of that upwards motion. I'm not sure if you're like trying to talk about like maybe here and up or where you're looking for this as a fractal. Right, so I mean, yes and no. This point, it's higher than this point, right? So if you want to look at this as, like now that we're talking head and shoulders, if you want to look at this as a mini head and shoulders, here we don't have this point here. First of all, it's not higher than this point here. Okay. So that's why I don't think a fractal is going to work. And a fractal is usually a diminishing pattern that looks like the previous one. So let's say for a fractal, like if we had, you know, an up, why is my drawing tool not working? Okay, here we go. So we had a moving up, down, and up again. And then we're going to see a fractal like play after that. You know, have a movement down and then up again, but it would just be smaller, usually smaller than the original move, right? It tends to like be smaller. That's why it's a fractal. Here, time-wise, right, we're not even getting, right? So if you look at the flow, we're not getting that, like that third spike here, right? That's why I think a fractal might not be the case. I'm not saying it isn't. Maybe in a different chart looks different, but at least on this chart, I don't think that's the case for the fractal. I'm going more for the inverse head and shoulders, okay? And if anything, for that movement here that I was gonna tell you guys about, then I said we were talking about head and shoulders. Well, you know, what if this would have been a mini, nano, micro head and shoulders, right? that would just been funny. Like that, and then boom, like that, right? with our tiny little neckline coming here, right? And then I was breaking it to the downside and probably hitting targets. So we weren't looking. I wasn't hunting for a lot of stuff last week. I was still taking it easy as I was coming back in to streaming. Now I'm starting to go more in depth into the charts and looking at them and things of that nature. But if we wanted to look at that like that, boom, look at that, beautiful, boom, pattern completion, right? We hit it. Then we reject it at the, you know, coming back down. So, yeah. If we wanted to look at this as a mini head and shoulders, that would have played like that. Jensen says, I think it's going to have to make a decision here. The S&P. Interesting. Can the S&P hold a rising wedge? Rising wedges tend to break down, my friend. That's what happens with the rising wedges. I think we might have the S&P 500. I'm not sure. That's the Dow. I'm looking for the S&P. I think I might have closed it. If I close it, I'm sorry. I'm not able to look at it. I haven't finished clearing up this, but here's the S&P. I hope the S&P. Yeah, it's S&P 500. Here it is. Rising wedge. So let's go to the daily. Are you looking at this on the daily for the rising wedge? Like, you know, you guys tell me, like, are you looking at this? Try to give me more info that helps me know what you guys are looking for in the time scale. Because right now I'm just guessing us on the daily, but you might be looking at it, I don't know, on the monthly or the weekly. Because it's for the S&P, we usually use larger time scales because it has so much data and it's really, really good data. But if this is the case, okay, the daily, got it. Then I was just running an assumption there. Not that. Where's my channel? Here we go. So I wanted to look at a channel. That's not it. So I'm just playing around with this. Just give me 1 second. I want to see if it's an upsloping channel, a wedge, or what is going on here, right? I'm just trying to get my bearings. I haven't looked at the S&P chart in a while. Does it work as a rising channel? That's going to be the question. And it could, right? One, Look, some midline support here, right? A lot of resistance upon that line, so that would work there. Now the question is, can we make this bottom one work here? I mean, if I want to use this as the bottom and that as the top, then we kind of said, yeah, we had some small breaks out, but we came back in. That would work. If you want to be really tight about it, then we have to go with this touch point, and then we'd be like not bouncing at that upper, like so bounce here again, respect for that midline, right? And then holding that midline, so that would also work, right? So both work. Getting it smaller and smaller. Okay, 1 second. Just remember, anything that is rising and upsloping breaks down, right? Usually up, like most of the time breaks down. It's bringing buyers exhaustion. It's people get exhausted of this. Like, buyers get tired, then bears come and drop it. There's bearish divergence as well. Again, that move is coming here, right on that rise, and that rise, Lord Vader move, and it goes here as well. Look at that. Right, boom, boom. Again, this one's not yet set because we can still come in tomorrow and kind of like mess it up. But for now, this is what I'm looking at, right? For that divergence, that would be strong bearish. That would be potential for a movement down. Now, if you want to say it's diminishing, I'm assuming that you're looking at a line that might go something like this as it rises, right? But I think the channel takes precedence because it covers more of the touch points. And it's looking a little bit better as far as touch points. But if usually now go with the wedge formation, that rising wedge that's happening there. Again, anything that is like this tends to break like that, right? That there's like no other move. Like it is really, really weird for us to see something like that's upsloping, break back up. So I would be more likely betting towards a bearish move, okay, than a bullish move. Okay, so I could be short term. There we go there. It's bearish. Alrighty, back to the corn. Thank you very much for bringing this assets up, guys. I'm enjoying this questions, and I'm enjoying doing this TA. So thank you very much for having nice inputs. We can look at them, and I can tell you what I think about them. And again, you ultimately make your own choice, right, as to what you see there. Again, if you guys want to believe that it's a fractal, that's fine. If you guys want to believe that, that's a rising wedge that's going to break to the upside, that's also fine. I'm just telling you guys what I see, right? But ultimately, your decisions, guys. Again, not advice, nothing to do here with that. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing and what I think what could happen or what things could go. And again, it's up to basically you guys to determine what you want to do with that information that I'm just basically extrapolating by looking at the charts. All right, very, very close to resistance, right? We need to get above that 66,000 zone, 66,244. And then we could be in for that nice move up, right? Again, get that 66,900 and then, get that break to the neckline, man. We need to break that neckline for this head and shoulders to play, inverse head and shoulders. And then go from there, right? All right, guys, I'm going to call it a stream for tonight. I really enjoy being here. I enjoy hanging out with y'all. Tomorrow's Friday. We'll be here tomorrow. We'll look at the chart. We'll figure out if this crazy chart played, if that inverse head and shoulders came to fruition, where we're at with regards to that and where we could go. Join tomorrow, and we're going to have a lot of fun, I guess. Might be even drinking brewski or not. I'm not sure, but, maybe some Coca-Cola or something, to get the stream going. All right. By the way, that was sorry, I forgot your tweet. I forgot your tweet. That is no longer Twitter. It's now X. So we gotta look at X. I haven't signed into X here, so it's gonna tell me like log in or whatever. It says Benjamin Cowan. If you look at Bitcoin in 2024 compared to 2021, you'll know that Bitcoin had a drop in March back then too. During early 2021, Bitcoin bled to alts, but again, the reverse happening. I think the reverse happening this time, alts are bleeding to Bitcoin. interesting, right? It could be that alts are bleeding into Bitcoin. I'm assuming this 2024. So if this chart is in any way, shape, or form what we're seeing here, scoot it over a little bit off to this side, right? So basically, grab this here, and we're gonna say that this is here, but at which time this is not happening, right? Because we don't have that spike. But if we were to shift this one over and said that this is that first spike, you know, here we can see that there is an inverse head and shoulders that kind of got formed on this zone. So you can, let me see if I can zoom in here more. I can't, unfortunately. But there's a small spike here that turns around and goes back up, right? And then it drops, and then it pops, and then it drops back down and pops. So if we're talking that we're doing something like this, and this spike could be this move, then yeah, we could definitely see that pump happening again. And then yes, we would be doing an inverse head and shoulders. That would be an interesting theory. I would rather compare that to, you know, to wherever this is, because yes, it kind of matches, but you know, this here doesn't make sense. So this makes sense. Here, kind of, you know, we have that small M here. It's a tiny, but here it's just not really looking too similar. It's just somewhat, but not extremely similar. But that's interesting, guys. That's gonna be it for tonight. Thank you very much for bringing this into you know, my attention, and I appreciate y'all. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thank you for joining, and we'll be here for another edition of TSO Crypto. Guys, until then.